morning, everybody. Good morning. Once again, I was asked to do Sunday school, which is, to be honest with you, is not something I care to do. Pastor asked me quite a few years ago if I would be willing to be the substitute teacher and stuff like that. That's well, to be real honest with you, I don't want to. It's not something that I don't like being in front of people. And so I prayed about it, and I talked to other ones, and I know from different things when you're teaching, you learn a lot through teaching. So after prayer and getting some godly counsel, wisdom in a multitude of counselors, I decided, all right, I'll do it. Not necessarily because I definitely don't want to. I don't like being in front of people. So if I appear nervous, I am. Not that I'm nervous in front of people. I take very seriously what the Word of God says. And so I do not want to say something that is wrong. In the past, when I do it for any length of time, I usually use the ABCs of Christian maturity as kind of my guidelines. But I'm only going to be doing this in the next 2 weeks, so I'm doing something that God's kind of laid on my heart for the past month, or a little over a month. Actually, there was one that I was studying before that, but Pastor more or less covered it this past Sunday night. So if you were here last Sunday night, you probably know the one where Psalm 119, 165 talks about have great peace at those that love thy law, and nothing shall offend them. And the reason I was originally looking at that is I've had this in the past where people take that verse out of context. And they try to say, you know, oh, you're offended, you know, you're not right with God. It's like, well, you know, what they're trying to do is use that verse to justify them being offensive and rude. And that's not what that verse means. When it talks about being offended, it's more like a spiritual stumbling. Because if you look at it, I'm not even, anyways, if you're here Sunday night, you got the gist of it, and so we're going to move on. What I am looking at doing is spiritual warfare. And I've talked to different people in the past about this, and this is not a real popular one. A lot of people they want to go to church, feel good and stuff like that. They don't want to really look at the evil spirits that are out there and what we fight against. Okay? So the first one that I want to look at here, I'd like everybody to, if you wouldn't mind, open your Bibles, go to 1 Peter 5, and we're going to look at 5 through 8. Chapter 5, verse 8. Okay, 1 Peter 5, verse 8. And I'm sure you'll recognize this very quickly. Okay, so 1 Peter 5:8 says, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. Okay? So this is one of our, I don't know about other people, but I know myself, we know God is the creator of all. You've created the angels, even the devil himself, you've created. Okay? And God allows the devil to do stuff. Just, I'm sure all of us know the story of Job. Okay, so we see what God says. Here's my man Job. Do what you will, as long as you don't kill him. And so we know the whole story of what happened. So I'm not going to go into that, but we know this. Okay, a lot of people think that the devil and God are equal, and that is not the case at all. Okay. But there's a lot more, I think, to it in the Bible than what we're looking at nowadays, okay? And I'm gonna look at a lot of verses. When this lesson is not like a lesson when I do out of the ABCs of Christian maturity. It's not real clear. It's something I've kind of put together, and it's just Bible verse after Bible verse. So I'm trusting the Lord to kind of focus me through this. So if it gets a little mixed up, that's my fault. Okay? So the next one I really want to look at here is going to be in Ephesians 6, verse 12. Okay? So let's look at that a minute. Ephesians 6, verse 12. The Bible says, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, and against spiritual wickedness in high places." Okay? Now, I tried to take this verse apart and go section by section because my mind wants to look at it as like 4 different things. One of them would be principalities, the other would be powers, the others talk about leaders, and spiritual leaders, and spiritual wickedness in high places. Okay? Now the principality is like, if I understand the Strong's Concordance, it's like the leader. I think that, in my mind, is kind of like the devil himself. He's like in charge of the fallen angels. Okay? So he's in charge, he's the ruler, he's a principality. But now these angels also have power. Okay? Now the third one, I would liken him to not necessarily our government, but a lot of people in leadership. Okay? Where it talks about against the rulers of darkness of this world. So I'm not just talking our government, I'm talking governments of this world. There's a lot of evil people, not just now, but especially in the past. I mean, the first one that comes to my mind is like Hitler and Stalin. I mean, there's been several very big leaders that are quite, very much against God. Okay? And the last part it talks about, it says, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Now that was kind of a weird one, but the best thing I found wasn't in the concordance. It was actually under one commentary, and I don't usually like commentaries. But it was in the Geneva Bible Notes, and it talks about the last part being, he says, he gives these names to evil angels, okay, by reason of effects of which they work, not that they are able to do some in and of themselves, but because God gives them permission. Okay? So this is one of the things we're kind of go through, we're going to look at a lot. I don't want to come across as bringing any type of glory or honor to the devil or to his people. I just want us to understand what we're up against. Okay? The Bible talks about, especially like I think in the Gospels, Jesus talks about how he cast out devils, and this person had, I think it's Mary Magdalene had 7 devils cast out of her. So we just recently, now I should say, as a family, we were out visiting a while back, just probably about not even a month ago, and we had somebody come in, and they were very much not the Antichrist, but they were anti-Christ. Okay, no doubt. And initially tried talking to them. I always do my fishing, you know, see if I can hook them in. And so I talked to her a little bit, and she started telling me stuff. And she said, well, I have this problem and this physical problem, and you know, she battles depression and anxiety. And I'm thinking, you know, those are very real things, but they're not a physical ailment. They're a spiritual ailment. And so this is part of the reason I'm really looking at this lesson, because Becca was, obviously my daughter, was with us. And after we had been over there and on our way home, I said to my wife, I said, do you realize that gal is possessed with spirits, evil spirits? I said, she's got demons in her. There's no, I said, to me it's very clear, okay? You know when you're around a Christian, because your spirit is, you're just drawn, you know, the Holy Spirit that lives in us. You know, I can walk up to somebody in the street and within just a minute of talking to them, know that that spirit dwells within them. But now I work with a lot of people that is just the opposite. And like this gal too, it doesn't take very long. You know you got a battle on your hands. So I want to look up some verses. And like I say, I don't want to look these up to bring any glory to the devil or his kind. Okay? The devil here, when I looked it up using the Bible program, the devil was listed 57 times. Now, so I got all 57 of them. We're not going to look up all of them. So what I'm going to try and do is kind of look over some, and we want to look at what the devil, I don't want to say his attributes, but maybe that's the best word that I can come up with, kind of what he does. Okay. So let me look here. All right. If we look at Matthew, you can go there if you want to, Matthew chapter 4, there is several parts, and this is when Jesus was tempted by the devil. Okay? So the first verse, that I'm going to read this here, the first verse is in Matthew chapter 4, verse 1. Okay? It says, then Jesus, led up of the Spirit into the wilderness, was tempted of the devil. Okay? Now this is very interesting, because if you were here for Brother Bagwell, he was talking about this verse in particular. And that's why I really like it, because it goes right with what I originally had. And so he was talking how that Spirit, this is the Spirit of God, okay, that was in Jesus, led him, took him away. I mean, it's not, he didn't walk, it was like that. That's how God works. I mean, God's so beyond what we can think or imagine. You know, people want to put God in a box, you know, they want to think, oh, he's like us, we're, you know, and that's kind of where Adam and Eve fell into, you know, how the devil tempted them and says, hey, I'll make you like gods. And people think they are like gods. You know, they think, oh, I don't need him, I can do everything myself. But that's not the case. So we see that the Spirit does this, but then he was tempted by the devil. Okay? And this is one of the chiefest things that the devil does. Okay? So verse 5 says, then the devil taketh him up to the holy city, and sitteth on a pinnacle of the temple. So he's trying to tempt him, is what he's trying to do. He goes on in verse 8, he says, takes him up to an exceeding high mountain, and show him all the kingdom of the world and glory of it. He's just, you know, the devil does so many things. He tries to tempt us. One thing that I said, now this isn't, maybe not real biblical, but this is kind of my thinking, and always, it has been for a long, long time. I personally believe that the devil has two main things he's trying to accomplish, okay? Number one, he does not want people to get saved. So he'll do whatever he can. I mean, he'll take, his little demons and cause interference when you're trying to witness to somebody or something, anything like that. Number two is if you get saved, he does not want you to have a fellowship. He wants to destroy you. I think of the story of the sower of the seed. Some where it talks about some fell on hard ground. That's what the devil wants. He wants it. Some fell on thorny ground. The devil just chokes them out. He does. Only one of them fell on good ground. Out of the four types of seeds that were cast, only one produced good fruit. Okay. So in my mind, that's the two things that the devil's always trying to do, and he uses all sorts of weapons. Okay. He tempts us is probably the first biggest one. Just like I said, he did that with Adam and Eve, caused them to fall. Okay. Let me see here. All right. Yeah. So. Can anybody, I know there's a lot of things, I know the devil deceives. I heard one person one time say there's like 7 different letters of D that they could describe the devil. Deceiving, destroying, yeah, there's a bunch, my mind's blanking out on it because I can't remember what they said. So, can anybody give me some other examples of what things the devil does besides deceiving, demoralize? Yeah, that was one of them. Very good. Yeah, he wants to destroy our families. He wants to destroy us. He wants to destroy our fellowship. Yes, Tim.
Based on the scriptures quotes there, he distorts.
Yeah. Yep. Distorts. Very good. You bet. You bet. Yes, John.
He wants to make us feel like we are great within ourselves. I know before I was saved, being a biker, the badder you were, the more respect you thought you were getting from other people. And instead, it was just the other way around. But in your mind, if you were the baddest, you were the greatest. And that's what he tries to lead you to believe.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I say, if you, and I try to, when I'm trying to witness to people or when I'm out, I always say going out fishing because God made us fishers and men. And so when I'm talking to people, I'm always trying to see if I can get a bite. And so I'll ask people, I'll say, yeah, you believe in good and evil? Well, yeah, well, then you believe in God, right? Well, yeah, I believe in God, So why do you believe there's heaven and hell? Well, I don't know about that, I say, okay, there is, but let's move on. I says, you understand that, it's my favorite verse. Now, I didn't get saved, I'll tell you right now, I didn't get saved until I was 35 years old. Okay? I wasn't young, and don't get me wrong, I was in church all of my life. Okay? I grew up in church. I knew all the right things to say. Okay? It wasn't a good Baptist church. Okay? It was a Reformed church. It was part of the Catholics. So I went through all sorts of catechisms as kids, and I got taught a whole lot of messy stuff. And that's why I hang on my Bible. I don't take what people say by their value. I go right to the Word of God. And I don't, the only way I'll even begin to argue with something, which is not something I normally would do, my arguments is right here. Say, you show me from the Word of the Bible where that says. When you're trying to tell me, you show me where it is in the Bible. And then I'll consider it. Because that's what I go with. I've heard all the teachings of men. I know all the false religions that are out there. I mean, and that's probably one of the biggest things the devil has done, is created all these false religions. And he did it right from the beginning. Okay? You go out, from the early part of the Bible, okay, it starts talking about once once God casts these people away, all these different people in their different lands had their gods. Okay, now I'm not even going to go into that subject, but we know this, okay? And that's why today we have so many religions. There's so many different churches because the devil has deceived us, okay? And we got to be really, really careful that what we believe is solely based on the Bible and nothing else, okay? So the Bible can, or the devil can do this stuff. Now, the Bible talks, this is where I'll be honest with you, I am not completely clear. Because, like I talked about in the Gospels, well, let me just read you one example here. Okay, you don't have to go there. This is in Matthew. Okay. Let's see. All right, I'm going to use one here, Matthew 9:32. It says, as they went out, behold, they brought him a dumb man possessed with a devil. Okay. And the devil was cast out, and the dumb spake, and the multitudes marveled, saying, it was never so seen in Israel. Okay? So this is when Jesus cast out the devil. Okay? Now, and this devil, when they're talking about this, and like I was saying earlier, that Mary Magdalene was possessed with seven devils. I don't think this is the devil as in the principality, the person of the devil. I think these are his demons, his little imps. These are part of the fallen angels. Now, I don't know all this as absolute. Okay? I try to understand it. And I guess that's kind of why I like, when I do Sunday school, I like a lot of input. So when we look at these different things, when it talks about the, casting out the devil, and I also know, like, if you think about Judas, like at the Last Supper, he talks about how Judas was going to betray him. And Judas was taken over by the devil. I just, it's hard for my mind to understand some of this. I'm not say understand, define what the devil can and cannot do, or what God will allow him to do is more specifically. The angels and the evil spirits, okay, because there's a lot of different types of spirits listed in the Bible too. Okay? But like I say, in these different chapters, especially in the Gospels, like I say, they talk about this possessed with devils. They're talking about multiple. So that's why my mind has a hard time saying, well, it's just the devil. No, it's, I believe it's the fallen angels that possess them. Okay? And they possess it's in the form of a spirit or a devil. Okay? And like I say, there's different types of spirits. So therefore, I believe there's different types referring to spirits, and devils are kind of the same thing. Okay? I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. This is one I printed out this morning, dealing with spirits. Okay? Now, this is some of the different types of spirits. Okay? Now, number one, there's the Spirit of God. Okay? I get this, there's, Spirit of God is listed quite a bit, obviously. I'm sure you've all heard this. There's also the spirit of wisdom. Okay? Because in Exodus 28:3 it says, "And thou shalt speak unto all that are wise-hearted, whom I have filled with the spirit of wisdom. And they make Aaron's garments as consecrate him, and he may minister unto me in the priest's office." Okay? So there's a spirit of wisdom there also. Okay? In Numbers, I'm just going to go with one verse because there's a whole part of this. This is just one verse. But there's a spirit of jealousy. Okay? Numbers 5:14 it says, "And the spirit of jealousy came upon him, and he, being jealous of his wife, and she being defiled, or if the spirit of jealousy came upon him, and he be jealous of his wife, and she be not defiled." So that's another type of spirit. Okay? Spirit of wisdom. Let's see here. Judges 9:23 talks about an evil spirit. Okay? And it says, "Then God sent an evil spirit between Abimelech and the men of Shechem, and the men of Shechem dealt treacherously with Abimelech." Okay? Because remember, God has control of everything. Okay? Like I said, there's a lot more to it if you wanted to continue through that. But I'm just saying, looking at different types or different characteristics of the Spirit. Okay? In 1 Samuel 1:15, it talks about a sorrowful spirit. It says, "And Hannah answered and said, No, my Lord, I am a woman of a sorrowful spirit. I have drunk neither wine nor strong drink, but have poured out my soul before the Lord." There's another type here is let's see if we got this. Yeah, lion spirit. And this is in 1 Kings 22, and it goes verses 21 through 23. Okay? So in 1 Kings 22:21 it says, "And there came forth a spirit and stood before the Lord and said, I will persuade them. And the Lord said unto him, Wherewith? And he said, I will go forth, and I will be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. And he said, Thou shalt persuade them, and prevail also. Go forth and do so. Now therefore, behold, the Lord hath put a lying spirit in the mouth of all thy prophets, and the Lord hath spoken evil concerning them." Okay? Now, the next one that I really like, and I'm sure you've heard this, comes in 2 Kings 2:9. This is, and it came to pass, when they were gone over, Elijah said unto Elisha, Ask what I shall do for thee, before I be taken away from thee. And Elisha said, I pray thee, let a double portion of thy spirit be upon me. Okay? And the last one I got here is the spirit of judgment. And this comes from Isaiah 4:4. It says, When the Lord shall wash away the filth of the daughters of Zion, and they shall purge the blood of Jerusalem from the midst by the spirit of judgment and by the spirit of burning. Okay. So. like I said, I got a whole bunch of notes. And I don't want to bring any glory to the devil at all. That's not my purpose. I want to make that very clear. I got some more stuff here. Different spirits. Okay. When I looked up in the Bible program, they have spirits were listed 46 times. It says God's spirits or evil spirits. Now I counted these up myself, and I came up with 34 evil spirits and 12 good. Okay, that's just so there's, like I said, I got a lot of information. Let's see. Some of the spirits. My printer died, so I'm going to go back and look here a second. Okay. The first ones that I'm looking for here when it talks about spirits, the Old Testament is talking, it talks about familiar spirits. Okay? These are, whenever it talks about familiar spirits, it's not in a good way. Okay? And like I say, as much as I'd like to read a bunch of all this verses, if you have them, I would love to, I'd be happy to share them with you. I can tell you where some of them are. Like I say, I was just in Leviticus 19:31. It says, regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek after wisdoms to be defiled by them. I am the Lord your God. In Deuteronomy, or of a charmer or a consulter with evil spirits, or with a necromancer. Okay? God's warning the people, stay away from these familiar spirits, because they're not God's spirits. These are, like I said, these are obviously evil spirits. Okay. Nowadays, the devil has been very good at making us kind of numb to seeing this type of stuff. I don't watch a whole lot of TV. I like watching movies, but there's a lot of shows out there that glorify magic. I mean, Disney has done this for years. But there's some very blatant, I mean, they're talking witchcraft and some of this other stuff. It is, the devil does this to kind of numb us to what's really going on. So that's why I say the spiritual warfare that we're fighting, it's real easy to go numb and not see it. I mean, I'm sorry, Becca, I'm going to use her, but like I said, about a month ago we ran into this person. Becca never really ran into this because she's homeschooled, where I work every day. I'm in a big factory, 200 plus people, so, you know, I witness people, it doesn't take very long and they all know I'm a Christian. I mean, that doesn't, factory, you know, that spreads real quick. When you're a Christian, they all get to know that real quick. And so I've witnessed the ones that I can. And it is, I'll be honest with you, it's a battle to go to work. Not for the work that I do, but to deal with all these people and, you know, how the spirits that are in them just can really kind of drag you down. I mean, especially, you know, if you have a heart for lost souls, when you're trying to witness people and you just see these people that are consumed with the spirit that they have. They don't want to hear the gospel. They don't want to hear anything about that, you know. And Yeah, that's the thing, you know, was so wanting to embrace my heart, you know, to talk to these people and, you know, say, it's so easy. You can know that you're going to heaven, but they don't want to hear it. And, you know, I have a lot of, I'd say good friends, but a lot of friends, a lot of coworkers, they're lost. They're great people. They're not bad people, but they're lost. They're lost because of their choice. I've had guys that I work with, and they, even when we were talking with one another, said they could tell, more or less tell the gospel story to one by what I had told them. They said, oh yeah, Wayne knows it, you know, all you got to do is, you know, all you got to do is understand that Jesus is God and Lord, and, you know, accept that, you can go to heaven. Now this is the lost person talking, you know, they know that, but they are willingly making this choice, and that's what always breaks my heart. Sorry, I got it. It's quite too already. All right. So, yeah, like I say, there's a lot of different types of spirits out there. Evil spirits. We go look, and I'm just going to go towards the New Testament here. I want to look at some of the covenants. 1 Corinthians 14:32 says, and the spirits of the prophets are subject to the prophets. So this is a good spirit. Good spirit. There are also ministering spirits. Okay? Hebrews 1:14 says, they are not all ministering service, except for the minister from us, the years of salvation. Hebrews 12:9 says, furthermore, the fathers of our own flesh, which corrupted us, and we gave them reverence. Yet we should much rather be in subjection unto the Father of spirits, and the last ones I got is the 7 spirits of God, which is in Revelation. I'm going to have that right there. Yes, John, please. The one nice thing, the greatest thing is that once you have accepted Jesus as your Savior, the devil can no longer possess you. Now, he can still mess with you, okay? But he can no longer possess you like he can everybody else.
You tried that with Jesus, but Jesus always had something to come back.
Well, yeah, but wilderness and tempted him. Jesus went right there. It's the Word of God. Always go to the Word of God. And that's why I say that's what I go with. You know, I grew up in a Reformed church, which is a spin-off of a Catholic church. You know, so I remember as a little kid, growing up catechism, and I think part of the reason I didn't see it until I was 35 is because their kind of mentality or philosophy or whatever you want to call it was, you know, if I'm good enough, I'm going to go to heaven. You know, so that's what I always thought. You know, I'm a pretty good person. You know, I mean, I was, wow, that's a bad thing. I was a little naughty, you know, but I wasn't, you know, didn't kill anybody. You know, I thought it was okay. And it wasn't until, you know, a Baptist preacher, I was at a service, big outdoor type of service and whatnot, and, you know, he said, well, do you know if you're going for sure, if you're going to heaven? Well, I really don't know that. I didn't know for sure. I thought I would. I was thinking, I'm going to go. But I didn't know for sure. You know, so as he started talking, and Holy Spirit convicted me. And, you know, I don't know. I got to find out. I got to know. So I went forward, and, you know, they was really probably the biggest thing that I can say that made a difference when out of that wasn't just I accepted Jesus as my Savior, is they gave me a little packet, and in that packet it had a little New Testament Bible, and it also had 2 cassette tapes. And the cassette tapes told me, you know, as a new Christian, what you should do, you know, how to find a good church. Okay, that's all I knew in a Baptist church. Not because he was a Baptist minister, but he put this tape together and he says, listen, this is what the Bible says. This is what you need to look for. When you need to get out of the church, here's what to look for. You know, ask him about this, ask him about that, ask him about that. And so that's what I did. I called around, you know, now I grew up in Holland at the time. This is where we were living. And there's churches everywhere. I mean, it's not quite literally a church on every corner, but it's pretty close. And so I called around, you know, talked to them. They're like, well, we use this one. Okay. Because, yeah, that's a whole other story. I did that a long time ago. I just praise God that, you know, He has given us His Word. And that's what, you know, like I said, I don't ever take what I say. Take what the Word of God says. I'm very fearful when I get up here and speak or teach or anything, because I do not want to say anything that goes against the Word of God. I take that seriously, like my life seriously. So, I'm going to have to close. Any other questions or comments? All right, let's close. Our dear Lord God, we just thank you for being such a merciful God, Lord. God that just saved a wretch like me. I thank you so much. Thank you for all that you do in our lives. And I thank you for this lesson that you gave us this morning, Lord. I thank you for the wisdom, Lord, what you've shown me, and I just pray that I will be a blessing to these people here. So, Lord, I ask that you just continue to watch over us now, Lord. Just give us wisdom. I just pray you just be with Brother Kidman as he preaches here this morning or this afternoon, Lord. Just let your Holy Spirit just flow through him, Lord. I just pray you just let our hearts be open to your word, and the Spirit work through us, and Lord, just let us not walk out the same way we walked in, Lord. Just change us, help us to better bring glory and honor to you, and be a better witness for you. So, Lord, I ask all these things in your name, Lord Jesus. Amen.